And the head teacher there, a guy called Potts, endorsing Wilby. That a head teacher is endorsing a guy who likes to put pictures of young women and comment on their breast sizes. Well, if my daughter went to that school, I'd go and pin him up against the wall, is what I'd do.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011 he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
Blessed Henry Newman. And the head teacher there, a guy called Potts, cozying up to Labour all the time, active on Twitter all the time, endorsing Wilby. That a head teacher is endorsing a guy who likes to put pictures of young women and comment on their breast sizes. Well, if my daughter went to that school, I'd go and pin him up against the wall, is what I'd do. Endorsing a man like that. But put that to one side. Put aside Mr. Potts' endorsement of Neil Wilby to one side. At Radcliffe School, a child tries to commit suicide because she's sexually assaulted in school. The school don't inform the designated safeguarding lead. They don't call the police. They then let the lad back into the classroom. The mother reports the child's sexually assaulted on two further occasions, and she tries to commit suicide. From the hospital bed, the mum phones the school, and the head teacher won't take the calls. And when he's finally forced into a corner, he sends a letter to the mother admitting mistakes have been made. The police have now been informed, and they'll do better next time. You should be sacked. You should be suspended. There should be an urgent Ofsted inspection into that school. And to make matters worse, he makes reference to the governors, and the governors know, and they've agreed something with the governors. 3 of the governors are the 3 Chariton Central Labour Party councillors. Where's the outrage? Where's the justice for this child? And in my experience, if it's happened once, it's happened other times. A child of our town tried to kill herself because she was sexually assaulted in school, and the school facilitated space for her abuser to access her again and again and again. And the local authority, it's a local authority school, it's a council school. And 3 of the governors are Labour Party councillors. It's criminal. It's not just gross misconduct, mate. It's criminal. Can you imagine if it was one of our daughters? Well, if it was one of your daughters, if it was my daughter? I'm sorry, but I'd be going to prison. I genuinely believe if it was my daughter that happened to, I would be going to prison. He's still there. The head teacher. And the entire senior leadership team. As though nothing's gone wrong. It's okay. It's not lessons have been learnt. Lessons will be learnt. Listen. The treatment of women, the Sarah Everard abduction, torture, rape, killing by a police officer. That didn't happen overnight. Men don't suddenly become abusers like this. It's learned behaviour, and it's behaviour that they see around them or they're involved in from a younger age that is left unchallenged, unpunished, with no consequences. In the world I came from, If we wanted to deal with racism, we dealt with racism and we would not tolerate it anywhere. And there would be consequences for those who were racist. There would be consequences for those who were homophobic. There were consequences for those who were sexist, and so on. And in a school where a child is sexually assaulted, that does not happen in a vacuum. Hundreds of other children will have witnessed it or been aware of it and will have seen the absence of any justice from the school. The ignoring of their policies the children would have witnessed, and it becomes acceptable behavior. And then so next time someone else will do it, because children are good at this, aren't they? Well, he did it and you did nothing to him, so I'm going to do it. Because in the main, it's been covered up, Gary. And unfortunately, no. Because the school, in their response, has admitted to it, Oldham. They've admitted to their failings. And Oldham Academy North is a school run by an academy. Radcliffe School isn't. Radcliffe School is run by the council, or as good as run by the council. Oldham Academy North is run by an independent education provider. EACT, they were called when I knew of them. They might have changed the name, that's who they were. When at Oldham Academy North, a handful of Muslim students were not allowed to pray on a Friday afternoon. That means worship. You shouldn't be worshipping in a school anyway, from my point of view, but weren't allowed to worship inside the school. They went outside in the rain and prayed for maybe 10 minutes. Friday Jummah prayer is about 10 minutes. The council was so concerned with the safeguarding of a handful of Muslim children getting wet at lunchtime that they acted quickly. Her own words, or as good as her own words, Arud Shah's own words. And intervened and worked with the school to make sure this would never happen again. Now I'm looking at the differences here. I know which one is more severe. From my point of view, I think from anybody's point of view, even my worst critic's point of view. What's more severe? A child attempting suicide after being sexually assaulted in a school, or half a dozen Muslim boys getting wet in the rain for 10 minutes? So why has the council issued press statements, press releases, and intervened on one and remained completely silent on the other? Why has the council done that? Councillor Shahid Mushtaq is in charge of education, is he not? And that's exactly what it is, Denise. And I keep going back to this point because of the power of the bloc Muslim vote. The Chadderton councillors, the Chadderton North councillors, Mohan Ali and Nazrul Haq, went on social media immediately defending the rights of these boys and attacking the school and campaigning to make sure that the school is held to account. Meanwhile, in the other school, at Radcliffe, the 3 Labour Party councillors, actually governors of the school, they would have been kept abreast of matters throughout.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.